The Patriots, they did it. They finally did it. They knocked off all the criteria you could think of. They went out, they got help for Drake Maye. They signed a wide receiver that you know the name of, and they spent a lot of money to do it. And now Stefon Diggs is a New England Patriot. They let him leave the facility last week, even though it was just a get-to-know-you meeting. And a week later, they signed him. 3 years, $69 million. Nice. Only $26 million guaranteed and a team option for each of the last 2 seasons. So essentially, it's a 1-year deal. It's a 1-year deal worth $26 million. That's a lot of money. I mean, it ain't my money. That ain't my money, but it's more money than I would have thought of for a 31-year-old Stefon Diggs coming off a major injury that might mean he's not even ready for week 1 of the regular season in 2025. So that's something we'll get to in a minute, but $26 million, that's what you would have paid for Stefon Diggs 4 years ago. I was thinking he was going to be available in the teens, but the Patriots have the money. They have the money to overspend. You got to pay the suck tax. We can't say this all offseason long, that they have to pay the suck tax and that you want them to actually go and spend some money because you think they're cheap. We can't say that all season long, which I think both those things are true, and then knock the Stefon Diggs deal just because of money, right? It's not ours. It's Bob Kraft's money to spend. They've had the worst cash spending of any team in the league over the last decade, which we went over yesterday. If you want to check that video out on the channel, how cheap the Patriots are. And they went out and they got Stefon Diggs. So great timing for me to run that segment yesterday, right? And the other thing, and maybe the more important thing than the name recognition and the money that they spent on it, is the fact that you actually went out there and you got help for Drake Maye. Which all leads back to this totally bullshit report that Tom Curran had last week, by the way. That report of the Patriots, being wary of who they bring in. The Patriots are exceedingly wary of the negative impact a demanding veteran wideout could have on Maye. As a result, they weren't in the game on talented guys like DK Metcalf and Devontae Adams. And then, as damage control, right after they signed Stefon Diggs, Curran has a report that, no, they were going to go and get DK Metcalf. He just didn't want to come here. Clearly, Jonathan or Robert or someone is sending that information down the pike to Tom Curran. But it doesn't add up with this here, right? Oh, no, we'll take a demanding receiver now at $26 million a year. We'll take a receiver that basically forced his way out of Minnesota and Buffalo because he was pissed off at his quarterback both times. That's not too demanding for our guy. That's okay. Because the whole thing was bullshit, man. The Patriots were lying to you. They were lying to you through Tom Curran. I almost don't even fault him for this because he's clearly just getting the information directly from the New England Patriots. That was never the case. They just wanted to cover their ass when guys would say no to them, to handle this embarrassment of what your organization has become over the last 2 seasons, that even with a promising young quarterback and a qualified head coach, that most of the top name receivers in the league don't want to come here. Most of the top name free agents in the league, regardless of position, want to come to New England. And to be honest, I'm pretty surprised Stefon Diggs said yes. I don't think there was a huge market for him, but I do think there were some competitors that could have looked at a guy like Stefon Diggs, but not at $26 million. And that's the reason why Stefon Diggs is a New England Patriot. So don't buy into all the crap that you see the Patriots putting out there through their reporters. Clearly, that they're wary of bringing in a demanding guy. Like DK Metcalf, we can't bring him in. He's too demanding. We'll just bring in Stefon Diggs instead. DK Metcalf kind of asked out of one place. Stefon Diggs forced his way out of 2. But God forbid we have anyone demanding on this team, right? Well, that's a claim that Phil Perry, who also works with Tom Curran, is trying to deflect. He says the people he's talked to in Houston say he's not that much of a problem, and he was okay being, the number 2 guy behind Nico Collins, that he's going to come in here and be an intense guy, a winning guy, culture guy, going to work his ass off, but he was okay being the number 2 guy behind Nico Collins. Guess what? He's not going to be number 2 in New England by default. They don't have anyone who can hold a candle to him, even when he's coming off an ACL injury at age 31. He's the de facto number 1 guy. He's the brainiac who gets kicked out of the prep school and goes to Rockland High and becomes the valedictorian. That's what he is right now. Again, he's the best option they got, but, it's not like this is your Stefon Diggs of 3 seasons ago, 4 seasons ago. He's not that. So that's why I ask, how much does he help Drake Maye? Undeniably, the Patriots are better because that's how shit their wide receiver room was and still kind of is. And Stefon Diggs brings an extra energy to that, both on and probably off the field as well, from what everyone's talking about with his leadership, with his work ethic, his intensity. That is clearly something that the Patriots wide receiver room needs. They need a kick in the ass. They need a pros pro in there because it doesn't sound like Kendrick Bourne is that. And definitely Kayshon Boutte and Javon Baker and Jalen Polk are not that. And Pop Douglas is not that. So maybe this is the guy that they need. He hasn't been to a Super Bowl, but he's played in playoff games. He's been a part of good teams with good cultures, even though he's not contributed to it some of the time, right? He's seen good cultures around him in Buffalo and Minnesota and Houston with his 1 year with the Texans this past year. But that is something that the Patriots desperately need, and he is a step above what they have right now. Now, he played half his snaps in the slot last year, not his normal position, so you're not exactly getting the vertical threat that I think a lot of Patriots fans were hoping for. But those guys, they don't grow on trees here. The other big question, of course, is when is he going to play? He blew out his knee at age 30. He's now 31. Age 30 in October. At best, at the very best, he can be available for you in training camp. That is like a freakish Wes Welker 9-month ACL recovery. It does not usually happen like that, especially at this age. In fact, if you want to look at a guy who's on your team right now, who most recently tore his ACL at that position at a similar age, Kendrick Bourne blew out his ACL in October of 2023, and he was next on the field in an NFL game in October of 2024. So there's a very realistic opportunity that Stefon Diggs is not on the field for you until the second month of the year, 6 or 8 weeks into the season. So this can't be your only fix here if you're the Patriots, but undoubtedly you got better. And I'm hoping this wasn't a team that caved to the demand for having a number 1 receiver that we've heard of, whether he's a number 1 receiver now or not, but someone that we, the fan base, has heard of. I hope that's not the case, but I do have the question of how much negotiating did it take? Because they met with him last week and they let him leave the facility last week. And a week later, he's just now getting signed on Tuesday night. So were they looking for someone else that went off the board? Were they trying to work something else that went off the board? Were they trying to get him for a lot less money and they needed to outbid someone or someone that was made up? That's what I'm concerned about with this. But again, it's not my money. And you did make your football team better. And you did get a veteran receiver who is demanding, but should be a help for Drake Maye. And you've made that move on the offensive side that you hadn't really done. Mac Hollins and Stefon Diggs, that's nice. You're trying to do a little 2023 Buffalo Bills thing. It's fine. I get that. Stefon worked with McDaniels' brother in Houston. He was the wide receivers coach in Houston. Obviously, Mac Hollins had his best year of his career under Josh McDaniels in Vegas. So maybe there's a little something there. But the Patriots went out and nailed those 3 things that we as fans were looking for. Let's hope it works. But they got those 3 things. Help for Drake Maye a receiver that we've heard of, that we know can be a top tier receiver when he's at his best, and they spend a lot of money to do it. So let me know what you guys think about this move. Let me know in the comments below. Is this the move that you were hoping for the Patriots? Let me know in the comments. Be sure to like and subscribe. We're live at high noon Eastern time every weekday, and then wherever you get your podcasts, we're talking nothing but Boston sports. We've got videos all over the channel. You can subscribe on the screen here, and we will continue to roll every weekday. I'm Cam Stewart. Zach Burke keeps us on the air.